Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today I wanted to go through a bunch of different stuff, 10 things to be exact, that you potentially didn't know about in Warzone 2.0. Now, these are a bunch of different hidden mechanics that can really help you out in terms of getting more kills or even outplaying your opponents, and these are all things that I essentially had no idea were the case when I started playing the game, and I've just found them out through trial and error. So without wasting any time, let's jump right into it. If you do end up enjoying the video and you do learn something new, then definitely hit that like button down below and be sure to subscribe for more Warzone 2 content. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So the first thing on the list here is that sometimes there are actually satchels in the Gulag, and you can actually pick them up and use them obviously in the Gulag. So it gives you that extra armor plate, and although it actually says you don't have any spare armor, you can actually plate up and put that third armor plate in. But on top of that, if you actually win the Gulag and you have picked that up, you will respawn into the match with your armor satchel on, and you'll have essentially everything that you pick up within the Gulag. So if you see grenades and anything like that, the same rule does apply. Anything that you pick up in the Gulag goes back with you if you do end up winning the Gulag. And it obviously makes sense because you are coming from the Gulag, so technically anything you had realistically should have that with you anyway. So when you're in the Gulag, definitely be sure to check when you are running around. They're usually up on that sort of top platform area, but they can be found anywhere. You can see in this clip here, I was actually just running away. I was getting absolutely murdered by that dude. My teammate hard carried me here, but I did manage to pick up a satchel. And as you can see, when I spawn back into the game, I've already got that satchel with me. So if you ever see a satchel, be sure to pick it up, not only because it does help you in the Gulag, obviously you get an extra 50 HP, and that's going to help you win, but then when you do win, you'll also spawn in with that, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for those. Now, another sort of hidden mechanic is to do with the ziplines, and this is something that definitely was not the case in Warzone 1. We all know that the ziplines were absolutely terrible in that game. They locked you into like a stupid animation, and they took ages, and once you got to the top of that zipline, it would essentially lock you into that animation. If someone was staring at you, you cannot do anything about it. They'll kill you before you've actually pulled up your weapon. Now, that is still the case. However, you can actually jump off the zip lines and turn around and all that kind of thing while you're on them. They're a lot more, I guess, mobile this time around. And a really good tip is that when you're just about to get to the top of the zip line, it's actually a really good idea to jump, and that will pull you straight off the zip line. You will continue to move up just a little bit because you've technically jumped while you're already moving up. And so you can kind of peek your head above that rooftop or whatever you are going up, and you can see if anyone's there, and then if there is, obviously you can just fall down and get out of the way, or you can see that no one's there and you can continue to just grab back onto the zipline and you will go back up. So this is a really useful tip, especially if you're going up a zipline and you kind of know that there's someone around that area. Be sure to jump right before you get into that animation, and this has already saved me a few times, so definitely get into the habit of doing this. Now, something else that I've noticed not a lot of people actually know is that if you do pick up a medium or large backpack through ground loot, then you can actually equip 3 weapons in Warzone, and that means you can always have 3 weapons on you. Once you do have that medium or large backpack, you'll see the option to actually stow a weapon, and so if you've already got 2 weapons, you can stow that third one and it goes into your backpack. This means that if you just press triangle, you're not going to be able to change to that weapon, but if you press down on the D-pad and then hit square or X depending on what console you're on, it will switch your current weapon to the weapon that was in your backpack. And so it's a really good idea to run like an SMG, an assault rifle, and then you can actually bring a sniper with you as well, and if someone starts sniping at you, you can quickly get behind cover, change that out, and actually pull out your third weapon as a sniper. It's a really awesome mechanic, and it also doesn't take up any slots from, you know, carrying extra armor. It's got its own weapon slot there. It's not like carrying this extra weapon is going to stop you carrying extra armor plates. So it's honestly a good idea to just get it regardless if it's the worst weapon in the game. Just pick up a third weapon. You never know when you're going to need it, and that is something that I think not a lot of people actually understand, that purely based off the fact that, to be honest, the medium and large backpacks are not that common within Warzone 2. Now, sort of in the same vein as the one that I just mentioned, this is related to the backpack, and one thing that's worth noting is that the ammo that you're carrying in your backpack, that is not the same ammo that you actually have equipped in your gun. So if you're just running around, and you can see down in the bottom right, if you've got an AR, for example, it'll have like whatever is in your magazine at the moment, and then it'll have 210 spare bullets there. Now, if you go into your backpack and there's another 180 assault rifle bullets, that is actually not the same ammo. So technically right there, you'd be carrying nearly 400 bullets. And I see a lot of people confused about this because they're kind of worried about dropping that ammo from their backpack to pick up extra plates or something. They don't want to have no ammo. But if you look at the actual picture of your weapon when you pull up your backpack, it says the ammo down there. So any extra ammo that you see in your backpack, that is spare ammo. You don't need to be running around with like 700 bullets. Now, that's not the worst idea either, because obviously if you're running like a double AR, you can just have like 1,000 bullets in there. That is not the worst idea ever, but it is worth definitely knowing that you can drop that ammo and it's not going to affect the ammo that is in your weapon at the moment. Now, moving on, this is to do with the ping system system, and we all know that the ping system in Warzone 2.0, it is currently terrible, to say the very least. It is just so hard to see them sometimes. The amount of times I'm playing with my mates and I say, all right, we're going to drop on the ping, and then they go, where is the ping? Like, it's that hard to find where your teammate is pinged. What you guys want to do is you want to head into your settings. You want to go into the interface settings. You want to go into the color customization, and then down there where it says neutral, that is actually the ping. I don't know why it works that way, but the neutral one that by default is set to white. If you change that, it will change the color of your ping. So change that to a nice bright color. I've gone like lime green, but you could go red or blue or whatever, something that you think will stand out. And as you can see, when you actually ping something, it will be in that color, and this is super handy for just seeing your teammates' pings, because let's be honest, it is nearly impossible to see them half the time. Now, moving on, this is a really good tip for getting a very quick loadout and a bunch of money, and just essentially being looted up very early on. Right at the start of the game, it's right before the first circle starts closing in. I think it's 10 seconds before that. Obviously, the announcer says that there are 3 strongholds open throughout the map. Now, the weird thing is, and I'm not sure if this is meant to be like this or not, but essentially any building that had the potential of being the stronghold in that game, if it doesn't end up being the stronghold, it almost is treated like it still is. So you don't have to do this, you know, stronghold mission where you're going to go and defuse the bomb, but you can run around to these and you can see those big orange flags, which is how you identify that that's one of these buildings. And if you look at the minimap and you can see that there's no stronghold there, but there are those orange flags, all you have to do is run into that building. There are no bots or anything like that, but there are still those white chests that just have heaps and heaps of money. There's usually like 2 or 3 UAVs, there's satchels, there's everything in there. And so essentially, if you see a building that has orange flags and you know that the strongholds are open, get into that building, because there's so much loot in there. And I think a lot of people haven't caught onto this. Everyone thinks that it's only the actual strongholds that you can see on the map, but with these you can essentially get every single thing you can get from the actual stronghold except for your loadout, which you're going to get enough money to buy those weapons anyway. Now, moving on, this is a really quick one, but this is also very handy to know. You can actually refuel your choppers and also repair your choppers by landing them on the roof of the gas station. Now, you don't have to land them sort of on the actual ground right next to it. If you try and do that, you're probably going to get caught when you're trying to take off afterwards, and the blades are just going to crash into it and you're going to probably blow up. So what you can actually do is just land on these little, they actually look like little landing pads. Not every gas station has them, but there are plenty of these around the map. And as you can see here, if you just sort of hover above them, you will start to refuel your chopper. So that is a very handy tip that I actually found by accident. I did not mean to find this out, but it's handy to know nonetheless. Now, moving on, we have another one that is essentially to do with the backpack. Obviously, the looting system in this game is going to come with a lot of different things that we don't know about. And something that I think not a lot of people know is that you can actually stack self-revives now in your backpack. So you can carry 3 different self-revives with you, and if you use one, it doesn't use all of them. You can essentially go down 3 times and self-revive every single time. It is super handy to do, and essentially you should, especially when you're playing like solos, you actively should try and get more than 1 self-revive, because it's obviously very handy in solos. And even just when you're playing with teammates, for example, if you've got teammates who go down and you've still got 3 but they've got none left, you can obviously drop 1 for them as well. So self-revives are one of the most important things in this game, and essentially anytime you have the chance for it, you should try and stack those self-revives, because it is definitely very overpowered if you're running around with like 3 of them, especially like I said in a game of solos. Now, moving on, we have a bit of a random one, because to be honest, this is a pretty like niche little tip here, but we all know that in Warzone 1, the gas mask animation, it ruined so many games. The amount of times I was about to win a game and I was just trying to shoot someone and my gas mask got pulled over my head and I couldn't aim down sights. It was so annoying, and to be honest, it isn't that much better in this game. But what you can actually do, if you're walking into the gas, you can actually ADS and it will essentially cancel the gas mask animation. So you can have the gas mask on you, but it won't activate. Now, obviously that's going to mean you're going to cough. So a lot of you might be thinking, why would you even do that? But if someone's like in the gas, for example, and you don't want to get caught in that gas mask animation when you're walking into the gas, just simply aim down sights. It will, like I said, make you cough, but you can then shoot freely. And it is that kind of tip that might only save you 1 time, but it might be the difference between a win and a loss. So definitely something handy to know. And as soon as you stop ADSing as well, it will pull on. So it's not like you're stuck in the gas permanently without a gas mask. It essentially just doesn't do it while you're ADSing. Now, the 10th and final little hidden mechanic for this game, which to be honest is not so hidden because it actually says it on your screen, but it's something that I think a lot of people, and myself included, did not actually pick up on. But if you use a Recon Drone, you can actually get out of that that recon drone, I think you hold square or X depending on your console, and you can get out of the recon drone, but then you can actually reactivate it. And so you can leave that, you know, hovering in your area. If you're way up in the sky and then you see someone's actually pushing your player, you can exit that, get the kill, and then maybe there was someone else that you saw and you want to double check where they are so you can push them. Just literally press L1 and R1 again, and it'll put you straight back into that recon drone. Now it does have a timer, so it's not like a permanent thing, but it essentially lasts as long as the drone would itself. And so this is really handy for sort of double checking. If you saw someone before and then you got in a bit of trouble, you can get out, get a kill, and then quickly get back into the recon drone and just double check where that other enemy was, which again is a very handy tip to know, and I just essentially stumbled across this on accident. So those are 10 hidden little things in Warzone 2.0, guys. I know there's plenty of other stuff that I've missed, and to be honest, probably plenty of stuff that I don't know either. So be sure to leave your comments down below on little hidden mechanics that you guys have come across in the game. There's probably plenty of stuff that's going to take us like weeks, if not months, to actually find out. And so, like I said, be sure to leave your own recommendations down in the comments section. If you guys enjoyed the video and you learned something new, then be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe with those notifications on. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the Warzone.